This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com. Hey everybody, today we are working on yet another figure from Hellboy. Really, those figures from Mantic are probably some of the best that they've done so far. Today we're working on the Gorilla. Now, I've got him here. He's already done, so as you can see here, and I hope this is a little better look that you guys will get at him. I hope I didn't go out of focus when I was doing this. But if you notice, you would think, okay, you just prime him black, throw a little silver on there, that's it. But there's some traps here. There are some traps here, and we'll talk about them as we're going through this. You can really get caught up in the simplicity of it and actually ruin the figure because of that. There's only one way to find out. Let's go down to the table and start painting the Gorilla from Hellboy. Boom. So like we stated in the opening here, pretty much, you know, you think this is a really quick and easy figure, but it could be a trap for you in a lot of ways too. Now, I took some Dawnstone and put it on my brush, and I took a lot of it off. And all I want to do is very lightly, especially on the main parts of his fur here, I want to go over it. And you can see I'm just nice and easy, and I'm trying to, I don't want to lighten him up too much because this is a trap color. This really can be a big trap, and you really want as little on your brush. All you want to do, you know, this figure could be very quick, or it could be something that you can find yourself in a really weird predicament with. You want to give him depth, as you can see what we're doing here, because you don't want the black to just sit there. And you can see he's got all these bolts, but we're not worried about these bolts right now, and we don't mind painting over these bolts. The real trick of it is, and I've got another brush here, which I'm going to show you how we're just going to take this paint off. All right, and that's all we want to do, take this paint off. And in where his eyebrows are our main part, because that needs to really stand out. So if you lighten up the body too much, the eyebrows aren't going to give you what you're looking for. And again, you know, nice and light over the rest. In his chest here, you really kind of want to really work that gray in, okay, to give him some contrast and a little bit of difference. And over his snout a little bit. And you're going to see that I'm going to work in the snout here and the eyebrows, but I'm going to kind of just lightly go over everything else. I'm working this brush in between these bolts, and these bolts here on the chest are kind of hard, so you really kind of want to work that in there. Really work that in there, and you want to hit this upper level here. Now, because of how we're doing this, his mouth is going to be very important, and we're going to come back to that very, very, very shortly. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to finish this up, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to show you once I have him all dry brushed properly here with the gray dark Dawnstone. Now, as you can see, I got a nice layer there. It's sitting pretty nicely on there, so I feel pretty good about it. The problem is when you dry brush with this, if you get it too thick here and it gets in there, it's really going to mess things up. Now, what I'm going to do here, and I'm trying to make sure that this camera doesn't unfocus, we've been really working on that, is I'm taking some pink horror, and I want to go inside his mouth. I want to get that tongue. So pink horror is a perfectly good paint to do that with. So we're just getting inside there. We want to get the roof there. We want to make sure that we get the tongue, and that really stands out. So that's starting to bring his face out a bit, as you can see, and that's exactly what we want to do. We want to start bringing his face out. So what we're going to do now next I think we're going to go with our lead belcher, and we're going to take care of all these bolts, and then we're going to come with some Ushabi bone, and you'll see how this starts to fit together a bit. Next, we want to take our lead belcher. As you can see, I've already started here with one fist, and all we're going to do is just really get that on. We want to be really careful. You want to, I like using a nice, good, solid, flat brush here, and just getting that on in there. And you can see, boom, all of a sudden how much that little bit there makes a big difference, and how he just starts to come together a little bit here. The other thing is, of course you want to get these. I'm going to use a smaller brush, but you know, just to give you a little taste. There's a lot of bolts on this guy, so you really want to be careful, because they're going to be in certain areas. They're going to be a little tough to get to. The best thing I can tell you is take your time. Take your time. All right, good even brush strokes, nice on there. I mean, you got the black that's helping you, so let it work for you. And I'm going to finish up all these bolts here, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you what we're going to do next on this big fella. Now, once that's all done, what you're going to do is you're going to Ushabi bone his feet there a little bit, and then try to do the hard part now, and that's just get his teeth. And he's got, these teeth are pretty small to get, so you're gonna have to just take your time. Take your time. That's what's most important here. Taking your time and making sure that you hit the mark here. I hope this is in focus too, so you guys can see. See how that just comes in? Now all of a sudden that starts really bringing in some of the things that we really want to do here, and bring in some depth on our friend here. And there. And just by that little bit of touch there, that really starts to bring out his face a little bit. Remember how I said how this gray is going to really kind of work together once we start working on these pieces here. Alright, I'm going to finish up. I'm going to hit a few more things and just make sure I got those teeth real good, and then what we're going to do is we'll come back with our next step. Now the most important part is this eye here. I'm going to use a flash yellow glitz in there. You're really going to want to take your time. You want to bring out your best pointer brush. Do not load this up with too much paint. Really don't. It's easy to add paint, it's harder to take paint off. And just all you want to do is you just want to get inside that eye area and just take your time. Take your time, and boom, hit it and move it around. Hit it and move it around, and then exactly what you're looking for. And that's all you want to do for the big fella there. Just want to get it, dot it in there. And those yellow eyes are exactly the way it is in the comic book. And that's exactly how we want him to be. So the next thing I usually like to do is I'm going to add a little bit of wash. Just a touch of wash. And I'll show you exactly what we'll do coming up short. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Agrath Earthshade. We're just going to get it on our brush here, and we're just going to go over his toes a little bit, just kind of darken up that Ushabi bone that we put on there. Just give it a little bit, you know, because nobody has clean toes. Nobody. Well, I mean, I try to keep my toes clean. I'm sure you guys do too. Right through his teeth here. We want to just build a little depth there and not make it look so phony. See how that brings his lower lip in by just darkening that up? That takes that gray out a little bit. You can actually add a little in his mouth if you wanted to. Sometimes it's a nice contrast with the pink horror. And just kind of just go over it a bit and just make sure you got everything. Make sure that it doesn't, you know, run too far. Move it around a little bit, you know, freely, and then there you go. So, not too hard, but like I said, there's a lot of traps to this guy. There's one last thing that we can do, and as a matter of fact, I think we'll do that a little bit. And then we're going to get out of here right after our last piece here. Okay, right here, all I want to do is I want to take some of our old favorite Necron dry compound, and all I'm going to do is just really just brighten some of this up, some of this metallic. I want to hit the tops of these bolts, and I think that's really going to just really add a nice effect there, and just, you know, bring more of a metallic type of look to it. This brush, of course, is absolutely horrible, but we make the best out of what we have. Come around to some of these over here, and just, you know, all you got to do is just hit them lightly here and just hit the tops, and that's just going to bring more of a metallic look that we're looking for, and that's all we want to do. And then, hey, there you go. You just base this guy up, and you got yourself a villain for Hellboy, which is quite the game. So once we get it painted up, boy, it's going to be fun to play. And we want to be a little careful over here in the face here, and just get those bolts there and make them sit up. All right, so I'm going to take a little panoramic view of this, and then what we'll do is we will go up top and get on out of here. As you can see, nothing too complicated. You know, a really nice figure to mess around with, and I really enjoyed doing this one. This one was quick, easy, but it could be a problem, that's for doggone sure. So without further ado, hey, let's go on top and get out of here. Another figure from Hellboy done. I'm happy about it, and hey, that's it. Whew. Well, there you go. Now, like I said, there are some traps there. You know, if you have too much paint on your brush when you're doing that Dawnstone gray over it, you can really lose the figure very quickly. You can see the detail on the hair there, which is really important, because when you come up to his face, it's a darker gray. His chest is a darker gray. So you want to blend that in, and if you have too much paint, you're going to lose the figure. And it's one of those traps that you got to be really careful with, because if you do it right and you get those eyebrows really nice and gray and around the snout nice and gray, when you add the teeth and the mouth and the eyes in, now all of a sudden that figure starts to come out, and that's exactly what you want to do. Easy figure, but a trap figure. And sometimes we get caught up in the simplicity of things, and sometimes just take your time, slow down, and the same way you would with a harder model. So he's done. We're going to move on to some other things, of course. Doing Hellboy, of course, we're painting like 17 different games at the same time, as you guys have seen, and we were having a great time doing it. So, without any further ado, I want to thank you all for watching, as always. And until next time, it's your old pal Rob. We'll see you soon.